Good evening. We're going to call the meeting to order. My name is Tiffany Baker, and I'm your chair of the REDI Commission. And we will start with the flag salute with Commissioner Steed.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Erica, can you do the roll call?
Yes. Chair Baker, Commissioner Faulkner,
Here.
Commissioner Harris,
Here.
Vice Chair Huerta is absent, Commissioner Pastorian,
Here.
Commissioner Steed, here, and Commissioner Wilson.
Here.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes from August 12th, 2021?
Madam Chair, if we could do public comments?
Oh, Jesus, you see, I'm ready to get right to it. I'm sorry. Erica, could you do public comments, please?
Yes, we do have several public comments. We have 4 in-person public comments and 2 submitted into the record to be read aloud on non-agendized items and consent calendar items. I'll go ahead and read the rules. A total of 30 minutes is provided for members of the public to address the Race, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Commission on items that appear on the consent calendar or a matter not listed on the agenda. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. For all business items on the agenda, each speaker is limited to 5 minutes. Public comments may be made in person at the meeting by submitting a speaker card to the secretary or by submitting an email to be read aloud into the record at the meeting by the secretary. Email comments must be submitted to erica.ramirez@temeculaca.gov. Email comments on all matters, including those not on the agenda, must be received prior to the time the item is called for public comments. Email comments shall be subject to the same rules as would otherwise govern in-person public comments. As I call up the speakers, I will be making an announcement when you reach a remaining 1 minute as well as a remaining 30 seconds. Our first public speaker for non-agenda item is Dr. George Rombach.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, at the last meeting, I was impressed at the various reports. Almost every one of you, if not every one of you, mentioned children who are challenged in one way or another. And I think a recommendation for this commission would be about those children. And I have 3 categories. 1, that was sponsored by our mayor at the Assistance League, and my wife is one of the puppeteers, called Kids on the Block. And it dealt with kids with handicaps. A little boy in a wheelchair, various diseases, also problems of parental distress and abuse and basic aspects to try and communicate with children. The block on that aspect is the schools dropped carrying it for the kids in this community. There's no reason, and there's currently an active chapter of Kids on the Block as close as San Diego, and I know the Assistance League is still be interested in potentially handling it. I know my wife was one of the lead puppeteers, would help get it started again. You know, at 80 years old, she can't be counted on for a whole long time, but it was a project she thought very good and should be proceeded. 2 other areas, members of this commission have asked me about issues about the U.S. Constitution. And I think that there's no reason we couldn't use the Ronald Reagan Sports Park for doing after-school aspect for high school
1 minute.
Programs. And I would also encourage using the Ronald Reagan Sports Park for the Constitution Association in terms of teaching members of this body and the community, because the Constitution is something we all need to know a lot more about. Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Rosalind Barmore, to be followed by Christina Harrington. Rosalind? Yes. Okay. Christina Harrington.
Good evening, Commissioners. I have a few questions, and I look forward to an emailed response to them. I will send a copy of these questions to Randy tomorrow, as no emails are posted excuse me, on the city site for the Commissioners. At the last REDI meeting, Chair Baker mentioned that the Commission had received a grant to provide mental health services. Before I ask my questions, I want to clarify that, and to everyone here, that I'm assuming that a grant, when received, is given out to businesses or private practices in the community to help the community. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm asking questions about private citizens. My first question is, who issued the grant? When did you apply for the grant? What data was used to determine the need for the grant? How much money was received? What mental health services will be provided? What criteria will determine eligibility for the receipt of grant proceeds? And what other grants has the REDI Commission received or applied for? How will oversight be conducted to ensure that these funds are used for their intended and legal purpose? Thank you. I look forward to your prompt response.
Next speaker on consent item number 1 is Rick Reese.
Good evening, Commission. Going back, I only brought up item 1 because I think it goes into your minutes from the last meeting, and I just wanted to bring up a few things that you had gone over at the last meeting, the barriers. Now, it's my understanding, one of the things you had talked about was communication, and it's my hope and it's my understanding that you guys will, and I think all commissioners will be getting email addresses and contacts and stuff like that. And I even think it's a good idea that you have personal biographies up there, just like the city council members do. I think that's a good way of better networking to the public. And so I think that would be definitely removing a barrier and making yourself more available to the public. The other thing you had talked about was underrepresented. And at the last city council meeting, the Temecula sheriff lieutenant was going over crime statistics, and I was very dismayed to see that there were 10 rapes that happened here in Temecula for this year alone. And it kind of hit on me when I was listening to that. Why don't you have crime victims listed as people that are underrepresented? People that are raped, people that undergo sexual assault, sex trafficking, these people are going to be very reluctant to want to talk and reach out to people because of the stigma that's involved, because of shame, embarrassment, other things like that. But, even thinking about that, I started thinking, it's not just them. I think crime victims in general, if you're a victim of an assault, even a burglary, you accidentally leave your garage door open at night, somebody comes in and steals all your stuff, it's kind of embarrassing, but you shouldn't have your stuff stolen. And I think crime victims in general, I wish you would consider and think about adding crime victims in as underrepresented people. Lastly, I was left with the impression that you were going to use the commission to kind of network people into various welfare programs and public assistance programs. And I would only say that I think that's fine if it's temporary, but you also need to have a way to get people out of those
30
programs. Because those programs, I mean, if you just feed more and more people in the welfare system, we have all kinds of statistics that show it's those programs from the 60s that have devastated minority communities, broken up families, kids without fathers, promote single motherhood. This has resulted in just social pathologies, broken families, restless teens without fathers, gangs, crime, prison incarceration, et
That's
cetera.
3 minutes.
Thank you.
I have 2 emails and 1 letter that was mailed that I'll go ahead and read into the record right now. The first public comment is Jillian Larson. I have watched REDI Commission go from idea to conception over the past year and a half with eager interest. I followed the process, your selection, and your induction into office. You were all tasked with listening to all of us and identifying needs and programs that may not have come to in light in the past to propose to our city council for consideration. I was and am excited, and you are clearly showed your interest in hearing our ideas. You all have a variety of preparation and experiences to bring to your involvement. I have been shocked, disgusted, and saddened by the recent tirade of misinformed hate that you have been subjected to. Please know that there are many more who fully support what you stand for and are tasked to do. I look forward to seeing you all working towards continuing to making Temecula the town we love in a more fully inclusive manner as you listen to what people will bring to your attention that might not have been considered before. I am ready to meet up for coffee. I am ready, and I know you all are. Next is from Charles Toro. Temecula must disestablish the Race, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Commission, REDI, and replace with the simplicity of golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Encyclopedia of Philosophy, Matthew 7:12, Luke 6:31. Our country, the United States of America, was founded on biblical principles, i.e., the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and the supreme law of the land, the United States Constitution, USC, we the people. The first 10 amendments of the USC, called the Bill of Rights, addresses what all people earns from especially the First Amendment. No law respecting an establishment of religion, prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievance. The existing REDI replaces Karl Marx's philosophy manifesto of the Communist Party of the bourgeoisie and proletarians' class struggle with race, equity, diversity, and inclusion. Americans, Californians, and Temeculas adhere by values, not skin color. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. The REDI pins one group against another and does not unify a people. The City Council of Temecula in Resolution 2020-59, Section 2, calls for 7 members for REDI. 4 existing members of the board are Black, 3 women and 1 man, 57%. 1 Hispanic woman, 14%, and 2 Caucasian women, 29%. 6 of the members are women, 86%. How is this just? Utilizing the tenets of the REDI. Black people make up approximately 13% of the population. Men and women are generally split 50-50. Hispanics, approximately 37% in California. No white men, majority of country. Black people cannot be hateful to other people. Resolution number 2020-59 for REDI is hypocritical and applying reverse discrimination. Charles Darwin promoted the separation of human races within his theories and books. Some races are superior to others, according to Darwin. The Holy Bible promotes men and women. The first man, Adam, and the first woman, Eve. No one knows the color of their skin, and the God of the Bible does not make that a priority to what we see today in the world people. Today, Temecula is a mixed city of people, as well as the state of California. The City Council of Temecula in Resolution number 2020-59 does not define the meaning of each word pertaining to race, equity, diversity, and inclusion. Each word must be defined. That's the 3 minutes. Sorry, Chair Baker, we do have two public comments for business item 3, but we can call them at that time.
Okay, thank you, Erica. Now we can, may I have a motion to approve the minutes from August 12th, 2021?
Motion to approve.
Have a second?
Second.
Are you, Erica, gonna do the roll call?
Yes, I have a motion from Commissioner Pastorian and a second from Commissioner Faulkner.
Yes.
Chair Baker,
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner,
Aye.
Commissioner Harris,
Aye.
Vice Chair Huerta is absent, Commissioner Pastorian,
Aye.
Commissioner Steed,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson.
Aye.
Thank you, passes.
Thank you so much. At this time, we'll receive an update regarding the city's workforce development programs and provide recommendation regarding the same.
Yes, Madam Chair. Tonight, we actually have our Community Services Department with us, our Interim Community Development Director, Erica Russo, and we have Charles Walker and Christina Ambrose as well. And they will be giving us a staff presentation on this item. You will recall when we had our departmental introductions, it was the will of this commission to go ahead and have the workforce development programs come back as a standalone so that we could get a little bit more detailed information. So this is a follow-up to that. And then we'll go ahead and receive the staff presentation. You're welcome to ask questions as we go or afterwards, and then we'll hear from public comment, and then you can have any additional discussion as you wish.
Okay, thank you.
So Erica, it's all you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. Thank you for having us here this evening. I think you'll all recall when Community Services had the opportunity to introduce to you just kind of a broad overview of the various programs and services we offer. And tonight we're very happy to bring back two of our staff members who focus on workforce development and inclusive services programs. So I just wanted to kick this off by introducing them. So we have Charles Walker, who is our Workforce Development and Education Administrator, and Cassandra Ambrose, who is a community services specialist who works at the Senior Center and runs a lot of our special needs and inclusive services programming. They're going to give you an overview of the programs we offer, and feel free to ask questions at any point.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Charles Walker. I'm the Workforce Training and Education Development Administrator for the city. What I do is I work with young people to help educate and train them and get them ready for the work world. We'll go over some of our programs. If you have questions, you can, if you want, chime in or wait till we finish at the end, whatever is easiest. Some of our programs, you remember we talked about some of our programs months ago. Our Future Physicians Leaders Program, our Medical Career Pathways, our Legal Scholars, Youth Entrepreneurs. I'm not going to read all these, we'll just go through them and begin. Our Future Physicians Leaders Program, this is a partnership between the city, Temecula Valley Hospital, and area medical schools, UCR and Western Health Sciences. This is for college students who want to be physicians. Okay. We have lecture series every week. We have community health projects where they actually work on projects that are affecting the community, and shadowing opportunities at the Temecula Valley Hospital and area doctors. Our technical advisor for this program is Dr. Jerry Ezon. Some of the shadowing opportunities, you remember I brought this up, and it's, you know, we had some people get to call time of death. Okay, so they're doing real things. They're setting arms, and now the program has been going on for quite some time. Now we actually have people who have graduated from the program, graduated from college, graduated from medical school, and are now doing residencies here in Temecula because of their hard work and opportunities like this. Because the program was so popular, we were asked to create a cohort of high schoolers. The previous program is for college kids, and our high schoolers, this is called Medical Career Pathways. They do the same stuff, the lecture series and the community health projects. They just don't do the shadowing because of insurance. Each of these cohorts, every summer we have 50, okay, 50 high schoolers and 50 college. Our Legal Scholars Program, this is trying to get young people into law school. This is a very popular program, so popular that the California State Bar president comes to Temecula every year, every summer, to have lunch and present to our young people. We're the only municipality in the state that has this kind of program. We have several students who've graduated from law school because of this program and because of their hard work, and who are now practicing law. Our Youth Entrepreneurs Program is a program that helps high school students try to develop their own business ideas and teach them marketing, accounting, how to pitch their businesses. You know, I always use the example where parents are saying, hey, Johnny likes to draw, maybe he will have a t-shirt company. And I always say, well, Johnny needs to understand business plans, he needs to understand accounting and marketing and how to engage the broader community. Okay? And this is what this Youth Entrepreneurs Program does. Our Junior Women's STEM program. This is a program where we include everyone, but we focus on middle school girls because there seems to be a drop-off in the STEM field at that age. We work with Abbott and area STEM providers, and this is a monthly program where we have a lecture series, a hands-on project, evaluation. During spring break, we have a spring break camp, and during the summer, we have a summer camp. This is for middle school girls. We do have boys that have joined us as well. We don't turn anyone away. Our Leadership Academy, if you take a look at all the things that are offered there, we have, SAT prep. They're able to get their food handler's license, their CPR certification, resumes, soft skills development, financial literacy, like I said, the job interviewing, public speaking. These are all those things that we can agree that young people need. Sometimes the schools, they touch on these things, but we have a summer camp and we spend 5 weeks working on those skills. So they actually walk away with credentials. Like I said, your food handler's card, now they're able to compete and go to the front of the line when they're trying to go into the food industry. Resumes, letters of recommendation. A lot of young people don't know what the importance of a letter of recommendation, so they have to try to find one. Some say, I've never worked, how do I get one? Well, does your neighbor think you're a pretty nice person and trustworthy? Let's start at the very basic and very bottom. College and Vocational Fair. This is the 13th year. Normally we have 300 schools fly in from all over the country. We even have some from Mexico and Canada that come in, east, west, north, south. It's at the mall. We host 10,000 participants, and half of those participants in the mall on that day they're able to track are unique users. A unique user is a first-time visitor to the mall. It's the second busiest day behind Black Friday for the mall, so it's an economic driver. Short term, they're able to spend whatever they want to spend at the mall, and long term, they're able to find a post-secondary opportunity. Hopefully here close, but many go abroad. This year, the fair is September 25th from 10 to 2 online. For the second year in a row, it will be virtual. We have our medical school programs and we have our legal programs, but we also have our vocational programs. We try to provide something for everyone. That's why our college fair is called the College and Vocational College Fair. Our construction training program, the city of Temecula created its own construction training program. It was so successful that we were able to partner with MSJC, who has made it a credentialed program, and our good friends at Habitat for Humanity allow us to work with them, use their facilities. They learn OSHA training, blueprint reading, basic math, all the things you need for construction At the end of the program, we hold a small job fair just for the graduates of this program with area construction companies. So we're trying to, it's not just getting that credential, but we're trying to make sure they're getting a job as well. Councilman Stewart has been very helpful in making sure we have the contacts that we need and the resources. He's a big believer in this program. Culinary arts, for young people who want to go into cooking. It's a program where they're learning safety, cleaning, knives, all the things you need for culinary arts. OSHA, CPR, and also being placed in internships. Another program we're really proud of, we're working with Temecula Valley Unified School District, and this is our Automotive Externship, where we take young people who have graduated or completed the automotive program through CTE at TVUSD. And the city is able to help place interns in area auto dealers. A majority of these participants have been hired on. Okay, about 80%. The ones that haven't been hired on either were leaving for college, military, or going back to school somehow. But once again, once they get this training, they are able to be hired on. Our Youth Innovators group, this is an internship for high school students. They do community service, help design and implement programs on behalf of youth in the city. Our Rocktober event, which is a youth-led music festival. I'll talk about our Young Women's Career Conference that they help organize. And this is great leadership development. So any young person who wants to be a part of this group, they should contact me. Our internship and fellowship program. We go through in between 100 and 200 interns a year here at the city of Temecula. We have cities from as far as Detroit, Sacramento, asking how is Temecula able to have such a robust internship program. And our city council really supports this program, and our directors of the various departments really support this program. That's the only reason we're able to do that. They're doing meaningful work. Many have been hired on through the internship program, and you get one-on-one mentoring as well. Cassandra will talk about our Global Citizen Horticulture program. Thank you. Any questions?
Do you all want to wait, or do you want to hear how do you want to do it?
We can do questions for that segment.
Wait?
Okay, we'll wait.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll wait.
You're going to wait. Thank you, Charles.
Thank you, Charles. And thank you and good evening, Madam Chair and REDI Commissioners and fellow staff. My name is Cassandra Ambris, as I mentioned before, and I am the Community Services Specialist for the Community Services Department, Human Services Division. And I have the honor of presenting a few of our workforce development programs for you all tonight. So first step is our Global Citizens Horticulture and Viticulture Vocational Program, which we call Viticulture, or sometimes Viti for short. It's a very long name, so we don't want to get it tongue twisted. This is a post-high school vocational program for adults with special needs. Participants are able to learn the grape growing process through the California grape cycle, the winemaking process, including wine bottling and storage, as well as winery hospitality procedures. This program is CPRS award-winning for creating community, and I can speak from firsthand experience when I say then we do just that. We build community together. Viticulture is an immersive program. I'll go ahead, go to the next slide. It's an immersive program that teaches the study of winemaking, vineyard maintenance, garden cultivation, and professional development skills. Participants get hands-on experience in the garden. We utilize our very own senior center community garden for this, but we also have partnerships with various people. So in the photo up there, you can see We have some beautiful pumpkins. We partnered with Green Acres Interactive Therapy that year. And so we utilize our garden and our partnerships with local agencies to really be an outdoor classroom. We also use the vineyard. So in the vineyard, we partner with Spiro Vineyards and Wilson Creek Winery to see firsthand what it's like to go from the grape growing process to winemaking. It doesn't just happen by magic, and so they get to see firsthand how that happens. And in the classroom, we go from crafts, activities, and PowerPoints to kind of lay that groundwork foundation for our students so that they're able to then apply that and see it firsthand in the field as well. All of this is to prepare our participants for the workforce and equip them with the skills that they can use in daily life. But we also have a lot of fun in this program. This program is currently in session right now, and meetings are Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 to 11 a.m., and there are 2 10-week sessions throughout the year, one in the fall and one in the spring. This is for ages 18 and up, but really it's intended for those who are out of high school, and so a lot of times that's usually 22 and above is what we see. Okay, so next, just want to let you all know that this program takes place in a very close-knit community, and it's a safe space that we build together. So each classroom is unique in that we all contribute to creating community agreements that we live by in the classroom and in the program. And this program is much more than gardening and winemaking. We also work on resume building, interview techniques, practicing public speaking, and developing healthy habits for workforce and professional careers. Okay. Next up, we have the Global Citizen Summer Program, and this is not to be confused with the Viticulture program that we were just talking about. This program is a little bit different. So this is an enriching program that focuses on professionalism and teaching resume building, job searching, and interview strategies in a fun and engaging way. It also teaches skills that aren't always taught in school and is intended for high school age students with special needs. So what I really love about this program is that it really kind of gets into the nitty-gritty of what life is like after high school and things that we don't always necessarily learn while we're there. Global Citizen takes place every summer in a 3 to 4 week session, and meetings are typically held on Mondays and Wednesdays from 9 to 11 a.m. when in session. So in addition to some of the items that I had mentioned earlier, this program also has lessons on time management, fiscal responsibility, and workplace etiquette. So we do a lot of really fun, interesting, engaging things, and sometimes we even visit the garden outside just because it's such a beautiful place to learn and to, get some knowledge. But really, that concludes my portion of the workforce development programs, and if anyone has any questions at this time, Charles and I will be happy to answer those. And I know he might have even something to say about this nice photo here.
Okay, who should I start from this end? I see you guys are ready, so I'll just start down here. Eric, Commissioner Faulkner, do you have any questions?
Can we put up the last slide, please?
I want to start with, I love that picture.
Yeah.
What I really liked about your presentation is the diversity I saw in all the pictures in regards to our citizens being able to be communicated out to them and them being able to actually engage in some of the programs that you have there, which is wonderful, which means the word is getting out and our students are able to take advantage of that. For the future physician leaders, I'm a healthcare background. I got a master's in healthcare administration, worked in the military a long time as well in that field. Are some of those that go back and finish up the program and go off to school? I mean, do you have a percentage of those who may be coming back and, interning with Temecula Valley Hospital and kind of staying in the area and taking employment here? Do you have any stats?
Yeah, well, I'll find those stats for you and get those to you.
Okay.
What we do is every year we have for the physicians leaders, future physicians leaders, we have 50 in that cohort, and half of those, 25, are able to be placed for shadowing.
Awesome.
The full 50 are not placed every summer, only 25. Okay, and out of those, I will go back and look at our numbers and see which ones completed medical school and have come back and possibly have someone who completed the program and who's in residency speak to you about the program themselves.
Great. And, I really like that junior women's STEM program and that you allow anyone who wants to join in on that to actually join in and get that, because I think, STEM is the way of the future. And it's great that we have a program here that actually focuses on that and allows our students to be actively engaged in that. So thank you guys for doing that as well. The other thing I would like to say, in your pictures, one thing I was missing was the disabled and handicapped. I did not see a lot of that represented in some of the things you were doing. And I was trying to see in some of your programs, what are some of the things that you're doing in workforce development that centers around our disabled and handicapped?
Well, like anything, we can always do more. So we'll start there. Cassandra can talk about some of our self-identified special needs programs that she works closely with.
Okay, great.
Yes, thank you. So the last two programs that I touched on are designed for our individuals with disabilities. So we do have the Horticulture and Viticulture Vocational program, which does, we had it today. We did some awesome stuff today. We actually made some grape juice from, one of our students has their own small winery. We were able to harvest some of their grapes, and then we were able to make some grape juice from it. So they're getting to, see the different uses of that. Obviously, we're not going to serve them wine while we're in program, but we were able to make grape juice together, which was the next best thing. And so we do have some programs, and like Charles said, we can always do more. But we also have that summer program that focuses on that professionalism, and that's geared for our high school students with special needs.
Well, thank you. And it would be interesting to see the statistics on, in job placement, out of workforce development. What does that look for our disabled and our handicapped, and see how they're being placed in positions here in our city and how they're being prepared for that as well. So another one of those, one of the demographics that we want to make sure they feel included and they belong in our community. And it would be great just to see how that's looking, how that's playing out, and what are some of the things that we're ensuring that they're aligned with some of the things in workforce development that you're doing as well. So thank you. That's all I have for right now.
Thank you.
Hi. I just want to start by saying, man, I love the community services department. You really are not just a unit, but you are a family all together and really trying to do the best for everyone in this community. I read through the pamphlet. It is amazing and extensive, and you know that so much thought and passion has gone into caring for everyone in this community. And it was an absolutely amazing presentation. Thank you. My first question for you is, how exactly do you outreach to the community?
Well, after over a decade of doing these programs, we start with the school district and then the area nonprofits. We would like to talk to you about how we can further this outreach to make sure that no one's slipping through the cracks, but that's where we start.
So,
our internship program, we start with all the area colleges and universities, both near and far. So MSJC, San Marcos, we have interns from San Diego State, we have interns from UCSD, Redlands, every university we're fortunate enough to have interns from.
Right, but what are the methods in which you are using?
Our social media,
Okay.
personal relationships,
Okay.
boards, job boards, internship boards. Now for our youth programs, we're working with the PIO office at TVUSD.
So do you ever give personal presentations like the one that you're giving now? Perhaps you have individuals that are able to go into classrooms or go into nonprofits?
Yes, we go to the high schools and do that, yes.
Okay. A lot of these programs seem to be youth-led events, and I might be completely missing it, but what are the programs specifically for maybe adults that are more towards going to college later in life?
Yeah, our culinary program and our construction program, we're fortunate enough to have a lot of older students that are above that 25-year-old level, but those would be the two. Most of these programs were born out of our youth master plan. That was created 13 years ago, 14 years ago. where we wanted to focus on employment, education, and some entertainment for our community youth.
Yeah, I know that these are youth-led programs, but I was just extremely curious to see if there was kind of, there's like that fuzzy area.
Yeah,
the early 20s.
Yeah, and
you might completely change the direction in which your life is going and might be like, I don't know the way in which to go forward.
And when I talk about youth, the ages that we deal with are up to 25.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Just piggybacking off of what Commissioner Faulkner was talking about with those who have special needs and are handicapped, I know that there's the Horticulture program, Viticulture, which is absolutely amazing, and also the programs in which there's some workforce development, right? But it would be really interesting to see a way in which we can kind of have individuals engage with the programs outside of those two.
Mm-hmm.
Like any of the other programs, everyone could be included in those.
Well, we're proud to say that our internship and fellowship program is very inclusive. We've had several over the years, many individuals who have self-identified either a host of different disabilities, and the city has welcomed them in the internship program. We will, when we have our Leadership Academy or our Youth Entrepreneurs program, there might be an individual in that group who outwardly seems to have a disability. So we are making sure we're including, but especially our internship fellowship program is very inclusive.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Yes. I think that's really all I have for y'all. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. Commissioner Wilson, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Thank you, Chair Baker. So first of all, I want to start off by saying you guys do a fabulous job, Charles and Cassandra, near and dear to my heart. But I just want to let you know that my son started out in the community service with the leadership, the future leaders and all that. Jordan has been in the program, I think, since he was probably 16, 17. So he's gone through all of your programs that you've had. And as a result, Jordan is, he has a significant savings account. He's getting ready to purchase a car. And he's also looking to buy his first rental property next year.
Oh, wow.
Of course, his mom's a realtor. He's got to do that. But it was nothing, it's truly a blessing. It's nothing but the skills that you guys have embedded in him. So I can definitely vouch for every program that they have. Jordan has been in the Leadership Academy. He's done the wine at the winery. He's gotten his card for the restaurants, for the food processing. He's got his CPR. He's done all of this. Jordan also has done the Global Citizen Program, whether it's over the summer or during the year. Jordan has done the Viticulture. I remember saying, is that truly a word? He was like, yeah, Mom, this is what we do, and explain all of this to me. So I just want to applaud you guys and say, if there's ever a time, this is the time that kids need to come back and share with our community what impact this community service program has made. Jordan is 24 now. He has a full-time job. He's working. He loves what he does. So my hats are off to you guys. Thank you so much for that.
Thank
so
you.
The program does work. We do need to get it out, as I agree with you, to the public and let more people know what this program is all about. So thank you for that. I also wanted to add, I also volunteer at Temecula Valley Hospital, and they are in dire need of volunteers. Is there something that we could partnership with the hospital for volunteers? And I think they start at the age of 17 or something like that. But there's a lot that they can do volunteering at the hospital, whether it's on the floors, making rounds, shadowing different people, working at the front desk for customer service. That's always a good quality skill to have. The volunteers truly are needed, so we can talk after this about that, definitely.
Definitely.
And then another thing, what about retail? Do we have anything where we can train them, or they can go and, get learning skills for working in the different stores here? Because we have a lot of stores here in Temecula. They could shadow and just learn something about retail. I know everybody is not fit for auto mechanic or for the healthcare and the factories and like that. But what about healthcare, retail? And another thing that I was thinking, what about a support group for these parents of kids that have disability or that are handicapped? Something like that, just so that the parents can connect, and then that way the kids can make a better connection also. So that was suggestion. Oh, would that be you, Cassandra?
You want to talk about that?
Yes, thank you. Those are all really great ideas, and that's one great thing about being able to speak with you all and share our programs with you all, is getting this feedback and knowing what we can do to better our programs, what we can do to better our city, and how we can be a more inclusive community in general. So I will definitely bring this back, and we'll see what we can do to continue to better our efforts.
Okay, great, thank you. And I think that's it that I have, just going through my list. I think that's it.
And
so
on-
thank you, guys. Yes?
And on the retail, we have a strong partnership with Jeff Kurtz at the Promenade Mall. And we'll sit down with him and figure out what we can do.
Yeah, especially with the holiday time coming
Yeah.
down, this would be a great time for them to learn some of those skills, definitely. All right, thank you guys
Definitely.
both for your presentation.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilson. Commissioner Steed?
Yes, hi there. So, is there costs involved in the programs, or how does that work for our citizens and our youth?
Yeah, take for instance the Future Physicians Leaders Program. The cost might be $20 or free, depending on if the young person has it, but they're minimal costs if the person can afford that. Our STEM program is absolutely free, but our Future Physicians, because they're supplies, medical supplies that help cover that.
Okay, and what about vocational? So if it's,
Yeah, the vocational program is absolutely free.
okay,
Yeah, that's you apply for that externship, you interview, you have a panel interview, you complete the training at TVUSD, the Career Technical Education Program, and then you're selected for our dealerships.
do you have any partnerships with trade schools, anything like that?
Besides the ones that come to our college fair, and we just solely pull from TVUSD.
Okay. I know, because I got an email yesterday or the day before, and it was from a trade school. And they gave the information on it, and you had to be below the poverty line, at or below the poverty line, to be able to take advantage of the trade school. But there's that segment of people that aren't below the poverty line, but aren't well off. So I think we're definitely missing that, that section of people that their kids still need to be in trade schools. So, that's maybe something to think about, to create more of a partnership with trade schools. So we
Okay.
can,
If I can have that list, that contact, we'll start there.
I will find that for you. Okay, I had that, and then I guess I was kind of on the special needs train as well. We have a lot of programs for our youth and our high schoolers. We have a lot of very highly functioning people kids on the spectrum. Do we make allowances and make sure that we promote that this is available for them also?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, sounds great. Do we have any outreach or any access to at-risk youth? Can we identify at-risk youth in this in our community? Because programs like this will really help give them direction and better their lives, obviously, and give them something to focus on. So I think that would be something for the city to maybe look into, maybe with the police department, and have those conversations.
Okay, definitely.
And then, again, I loved that our special needs have the horticulture, the viticulture, and I've met Jordan. Oh my gosh, he cracks me up. He's adorable. When it comes to special needs, I know that we're helping them, Cassandra, with job search and filling out resumes. It would be nice, again, if we were also training them to have a broader scope when it comes to being able to apply for jobs.
Well, we're very proud, once again, to talk about our internship program. We have had several individuals with self-identified disabilities work in every department in the city. Take, for instance, we've had a number of individuals with disabilities work in our IT department, and they were recognized as some of the top team members in those departments. So it's not just focused on viticulture, but they're able to work in every department and do meaningful work.
Wonderful. You guys do an amazing job.
And if I could interject a little bit too, with the Global Citizens Program, a lot of our students don't have a passion for winemaking, and that's perfectly okay. We like to let them know about winemaking and the process because it's so close to home, and we have those connections. And if it does pique an interest, we're able to then help them so that they can, possibly get a job at a local winery, and it's close to home. But I think more so what we do is we also show them just like the kind of skills that you need, whether that's being there on time. We have days where we're business casual, we have business professional, and then we have casual for when we're in the field. So they're learning those things. They're learning workplace etiquette, just so many different things. They're learning we have a break each day at a certain time. And so if they want to have a snack, they know, okay, at this time is when I'm going to do that too. So we have, sorry, I ramble a little bit. It's a lot for everyone, no matter if they are extremely high functioning or maybe they're a little bit less. One of my students, when he first started out, he wouldn't say anything. And then I found out how to communicate with him so that he would. And it wasn't by asking him yes or no questions because I just got a yes or a no, but it was in asking him open-ended questions. And that's what kind of piqued him into being able to communicate more. So those are communication skills that they're honing and socialization skills that they're working on as well. And so even though the focus is on, gardening and grapes and winemaking, there's so much more that they get out of it than just that.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing the intricacies of that because that's something we don't see, right? And you're in it every day, so I think that's really, really important. I love that you team up with Habitat. I'm on the board, and they're such a phenomenal nonprofit that it's great that they're not only learning skills, but they're learning how nonprofits work and what the reason is for Habitat. So thank you guys for everything. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Astori?
Hi. There is no denying the heavy and hard work that you do. The pamphlet is great. Everything that you've presented is great. We are so blessed to have a city that has so much opportunity. It's unique, right? I mean, you mentioned that some of these programs only happen here. So it's really kind of special that I think we have that, and we just need to do you kind of set yourself a better job of getting some of this out there, because I don't know that everybody, knows what we have here or how to get involved or plugged into it. I heard, as you were talking and answering some of my colleagues' questions here, some of that in terms of your methods of recruitment or awareness and such. And one of the things that I might suggest perhaps is putting up some type of an informational flyer or something for the businesses that you are connected with, so that as people walk in, let's say it was a retail place, people can see that connection that they have with the city, and they can ask the question of how do I get involved with this, or how can my child get involved with this. So I think a better marketing piece in terms of what we can do and how far we can reach would be awesome. Partnering, you already have a great partnership with our school district. To expand that and start to break into other areas, such as I'd love to see Cassandra do a presentation, or the two of you give a presentation to our special need counselors or at the high school level, right? That's very specific, not necessarily to the administration, where that message could get lost potentially with all the other things that they have going on, but specifically to those counselors that are working directly with scheduling and determining what the pathways are for their students who have a disability or a special need. So really kind of honing our contacts, I think, starts to make a further reach and starts to really push into areas that we're looking to create that impact. So exploring certainly would be helpful with that. I'm curious on the legal program, you said you partnered with high schools and stuff like that. So are we partnering with those who lead mock trials?
So our Legal Scholars Program is for college-age young people. We do, and we have accepted high schoolers in the past, but it's for undergraduates who their next step is getting into law school.
Is there opportunity perhaps there where our mock trials, members could see?
Always
or see?
opportunities.
And I think that might be, again, something to expand the awareness to those youth that are looking at that as a career pathway perhaps, and just seeing sort of what that opens up.
You're saying create a cohort for high schoolers?
Either create a cohort or offer particular dates within what you're already doing inside of your program, where those students who participate in mock trial could come and maybe show off some of their skills to the cohort that you already have, and they can get critical feedback. And so it becomes that really cool partnership that you have between our high schoolers and essentially what they will be doing, right? So hopefully that kind of helps to close that gap and puts out more awareness, and it creates another link to our district and the people that we're working with there. So that's something. I was curious with the youth entrepreneurs, are there areas in there in terms of our special needs people, youth?
Once again, we can do a lot better job of outreach to this community. Besides our strong internship program, our Viticulture and Global Citizens program, in the past we've had individuals who have identified as special needs or have been identified as special need throughout all of our programs.
I say that because sometimes, we, with our special needs youth, we might see them flourishing in, like you mentioned, very artistic areas, very creative ways. Perhaps they have a gift for music or a talent for drawing or what have you. But when it comes to, like you mentioned, understanding business and creating a marketing plan, that kind of becomes it could be too elaborate, too much, right? But there's not a reason for them not to pursue the entrepreneur pathway, but really gear it towards what they're flourishing in, right? Their needs. So maybe working to figure out something there where there's a balance for those youth as well within that same program would be awesome. I guess what I'm trying to say in that piece is trying to create a more blended opportunity where, because we know that peer-to-peer socialization goes a lot further than just a very specific group like you might have in viticulture or horticulture, right, with just our special needs groups. So
I think we can do that, and that is where the Global Citizens program was born. It started with our Leadership Academy, and then we created a Global Citizens, which is the Leadership Academy, but just geared towards this population.
Yeah.
The same program, we could do that
right,
with our entrepreneurs program.
And I think blending those pieces where, again, that peer-to-peer or partnering in some of those respects and not necessarily keeping them separate could be something, that could go a lot further. But you mentioned your Leadership Academy, and that was kind of the next thing that I picked up on. And I know you probably only put some bullet points in there. I love leadership. I love Leadership Academy. I love anything that has to do with teaching our youth how to become solid leaders for their future. It's kind of my wheelhouse in some respects because I've been doing it for a while. Are there goal-setting pieces in there, conflict management pieces in there? Are there elements of that? Because I think, as my colleagues, Commissioner Steed mentioned, our at-risk youth could really benefit from learning how to manage conflict, trying to create an avenue for a leadership academy, perhaps that they've never had the opportunity to really become a leader. So our at-risk youth is certainly an area of population that we can try to reach out to, but I'm curious if those elements are embedded as well into the Leadership Academy.
We have a lot of group interaction, and we'll look at the curriculum and make sure we add more of that conflict resolution. But they are broken into groups to work on projects and things like that.
Who writes or designs the program/curriculum?
Myself and staff.
Okay, yeah.
And then we have a lot of community partners when we bring in our guest speakers, our guest lecturers from the various fields in the community.
How often do you evaluate the program?
The program is evaluated after each session, by the participants.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. That's great. And then I heard you mention culinary and automotive. We're obviously partnered with CTE. Is that the same with your vocational
No, the construction program is something that the city of Temecula, we created on its own. It was recognized by MSJC, and then we were able and fortunate enough to partner with them.
Okay, so
And
two different
MSJC,
kinda
yes, and
pathways and
MSJC grants a certificate for the program, so that's really strong.
Okay, and then, I'm sorry, I have like the list of.
Yeah, of course, of course.
The Youth Innovators program that you have as well, what are the key differences between that and the Leadership Academy?
The Youth Innovators is a group of young people who have interviewed to be a part of this group. They've submitted letters of recommendation, resumes, and they meet weekly. Okay, during the school year, take some time off in the summer, and they get to design and implement different youth programs for the city, for young people. Our Leadership Academy is a camp, 4 or 5 week camp for all individuals to come learn those things that we pointed out.
I love it. There seems to be, which is a good thing, a lot of overlap in some of those program pieces, so those key elements, and that's why I was asking about the differences, because it seems that there was some overlap across the board, which is great. So it doesn't matter kind of what program you're getting, you're definitely getting some key elements with that. The other question I had was with regard to I guess probably for Cassandra a little bit more with regard to the horticulture and viticulture programs. Do we partner at all with the regional center?
So that's part of how we do our outreach and getting the word out there for the programs. We always let them know when we're having our viticulture and horticulture vocational program, as well as the Department of Rehabilitation. So, and as Charles mentioned, we do social media, it's on our website. That's kind of how we get the word out. And so we do work with the Inland Regional Center in that way. Sometimes they will send over some participants who are interested in the program to join, and we've actually done presentations there to let everyone know about the program as well. And so we've worked with them in that way. But if you're referring to like a more close partnership where we maybe have them as a guest speaker one day, we haven't had something like that just yet.
I think that would be great if, that kind of partnership where you do include them in guest speaking and such. I was kind of looking simply at, I see that program being so essential, in terms of providing a pathway for those adults that have that. But I'd also like to see, that have a special need of some type, but I'd also like to see a program or perhaps a branch off of that program for our employment-aged youth. So, perhaps our high school youth that can get some practical application, hands-on work as well, because, just to get them through that piece, it's just good application, good socialization. It's all those same things that you're benefiting for the adults, but not necessarily available to them. And so there's no, I just don't see a reason why we couldn't expand that and make that something that that they could also learn those same job skills. And I guess when I say that too, I'm sure you're familiar with our extended school year program as well through TVUSD. But there's a gap between what ESY covers and sometimes, and depending on what level of disability you may have, and if you are attending ESY. And that's where I see your program being something that could become bigger than what you have and offering something within that same bracket for those youth that aren't attending ESY, perhaps, and closing the gap to their academic year.
Are you referring to those who are like between the ages of 18 to 22 or like 14 to 18?
Yeah. 14, yeah.
So
yeah,
that's kind of where the Global Citizens Summer Program comes into play. So we have two programs. They both start with Global Citizens, so it gets a little tricky. We call the one with the winemaking and the gardening, viticulture for short, but we call it Global Citizens. It's a summer session that we have every summer for 3 to 4 weeks. So that one is geared towards special needs, high school-aged youth. So they're 14 to 18, and they're able to learn all of those professionalism skills that we learn in viticulture. They just don't get as much of the gardening and winemaking because it's a more condensed program, and so we focus more on those job and life skills as opposed to the gardening and the field visits too. But I mean, we have incorporated some of it sometimes. It's just not to the same extent because it's a shorter program.
So when you put that information out, what is your method? I'm just feeling like there might be not everybody is aware that should be aware. So what method are you using to get that information out?
Like what we do with all of our other programs, we have it on our website. We do social media, and we reach out to the contacts that we partner with. So I know I have a contact within the school district as well that I will send those emails to. But as you mentioned, it might be more beneficial to go to the school and to do presentations, and that might be able to prevent some things from getting lost in translation and have some people show more interest.
The other group that I would recommend reaching out to as well is the Community Advisory Committee for TVOSD that is also special needs based as well, but perhaps doing a presentation there for these other opportunities that you're providing for that age group would be helpful as well, and trying to see if you can't get onto their agenda for upcoming presentations and meetings. So that would be something as well.
Thank you so much for the suggestion.
No, that I'm just asking tons of questions, but I love the fact that you provide so much in terms of community service for our youth, need or otherwise, our typical kids and everything. And we're just so blessed to have both of you who give so much. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Pastorian. Well, I'm gonna keep it quick, because these people have asked you all a lot of questions tonight, and it's warm. Did you all turn off the air conditioner? Because, is it on the timer? Because I'm usually very cold, and I'm very hot, and there are sweat beads on Charles' head. I'm trying to help the brother out. I'm about to take off this shirt. You all don't want that. We get some air. It's hot. Okay, well, first of all, I think that you all do a lot. A lot. And I am just amazed as to how come I don't know. So whatever, I know we beat the communication horse. We got to figure out how to connect the community with the great work that you all are doing, because you're doing very good work. So thank you for that. My question would be, is there any way for the city to coordinate with other service providers that are youth? Because I hear you guys have a lot of programs, and what I'm big on personally is not reinventing the wheel. So if you do a part, she may have a part. She may have a part, but then we can have a holistic approach to, for example, for me, social and emotional skills. We're big on academics, and we're big on, now we're understanding the kids need to have life skills. But the kids I see can't even deal with failing a test because they're too stressed out. They have a lot of anxiety. They have social anxiety. How do I interface with people that are different from me? And especially coming out of the pandemic. Even to answer the ladies, the question, the REDI Commission does not have a grant, but there's a nonprofit, and I was congratulating you all on partnering with other nonprofits to meet the needs of the community, and mental health is coming up. Our kids are really, really struggling. Like, suicide prevention is September, so how can we partner together as other nonprofits, entities that work with kids to say, how can we meet our kids' need in a more robust way? That is very personal to me as a former foster youth, and not being able to receive so many services. So only so many kids can get into this program. But how many more kids need the services? So having continuation of these programs that you have, maybe community partners providing the programs, maybe having community partners to pick up some of the work from the program so more kids can participate, and more diverse kids. Like, I know we continually talk about special needs, but I have a group of kids that don't go to school right now because of all the controversy that's going on in the schools. And so a lot of kids are homeschooling now. What happens to those kids? How can the city engage those kids if they're not a part of a school? What else do I have here? It's very, to me, also the youth and family providers coming together, finding a place. So I know you guys are working on sending out, getting the list of nonprofits, because then we can say we have kids that maybe can participate in your programs. How do they participate? Or maybe a scholarship program. Like, if they're not in a traditional school, to the Assistance League, to the gentleman that mentioned the Assistance League, if you showed that you could apply for public assistance, then you can go into the program it didn't necessarily need to be connected to a school. So if something like that can take place where we can refer kids, different organizations that we may feel need an opportunity that you present, something like that may be good, because I think we're missing that population. If they don't go to a local Temecula school, but they are residents here, how do we serve them? So that's kind of why I was saying the partnerships, because we reach so many different groups of people, and if we can come together to talk about what's best for them. And also to the point of evaluating the programming, what are the metrics? To me, having the community collaboration says, for this youth program, maybe we should add this component, but having that feedback from community members in the community to say, this is what we see the kids are needing. That feedback from the community, how can we put in that point? What do your kids need? As a nonprofit, that's what we do. We send out surveys. What do your kids need? What are your families struggling with? Do we have some of those surveys coming to the residents of Temecula that have families? Maybe we can see what they may disclose, But other than that, I think the programs are great. I'm gonna always shoot for more collaborations just because our families need it. But I'm very, very excited about what you all are doing. Thank you for coming back. And I love you, Cassandra. You all are blessed to have her in the city. She's great with the kids. Commissioner, I'm sleepy today. I have jet lag. I've been traveling.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Commissioner Faulkner.
No, I've just been holding on. A lot of great discussion. One of the things I didn't bring up, which is kind of my wheelhouse, is veterans, near and dear to me because I am one. What are we doing in our community? And we've talked, Charles, about looking at some things. In my job, I work for the VA. So what are we doing to really make that connection with our veterans within our community? We do a great job celebrating our veterans, making sure they're recognized. But what are some of those programs that we can identify and spotlight to ensure that our veterans are feeling connected and wrapping our arms around them to ensure that we connect them with resources and they know where to go? And I know you're working on reestablishing that and getting that up and running. In addition to, we talked about up to 25-year-olds in your programs, right? So with this COVID and people coming out and having to look at other job opportunities other than the one they had before and being retrained, look for opportunities. If they don't have, and you may have something here in our community, but if they don't have access here, that means they're going to Riverside workforce development to get those, which means that that's not a local opportunity here, which means travel, getting on the freeway, and I know they can do it electronically. So is there anything looking at, for those above 25 and what we're doing in our community to make an opportunity for retraining, looking at opportunities, because some of them are coming out and going into different fields, and that's a part of workforce development as well as providing that opportunity. So I just wanted to ask that question. Those two questions, veterans and then.
Yeah, veterans, what we're doing right now is going over our veteran resources. We see what we have as a city to offer and making sure that's updated and put out in the community. And also, I handed you our veteran resource catalog that goes over housing, education, employment, medical, and the different organizations there. We're updating that to make sure all the correct contacts are there. And the city, back to our internship program, has a recognized veteran work study program where the city is a recognized work study site for veterans.
Awesome.
So they can get paid through the VA.
Yes.
So that's one of the things, but we're working. I appreciate your help on that. The city, the second question, the city has a strong partnership with Riverside County, with our Chamber of Commerce, with our local universities, and we're all meeting regularly to figure out the best ways to enhance employment and training opportunities. We just started meeting with the Chamber and the Continuing Ed at San Marcos and MSJC, and we're trying to collaborate and figure out the best ways to get those training opportunities out there. And what are those needs? We talked about training young people or training individuals in gaming, because there's such a high turnover. How do you do that? Starting that program up with MSJC leading that effort, and then some other things.
All right. Thank you. And, another opportunity, I'm mad and angry that they took apprenticeship programs out of high schools. Yeah. A lot of people went into employment out of those programs and making pretty good money, electricians, plumbers, painters, making $50 an hour. Some of those are making more money than people with master's and doctorate degrees. College is not for everybody. And how do we continue to expand that to some of these other apprenticeship programs within our community? Because there's a lot those are lucrative occupations, and there's a lot of money to be made, and can really make our youth that are coming out financially stable and be able to afford the expensive housing that we have here in Temecula, which the median house price is $600,000. Yeah. And these kids coming out having these jobs paying $15 an hour, it's not going to cut it. No. So how do we get them into these fields where they can actually get out there and be independent on their own? And then for our citizens, our youth that are going into the military, I think we have a unique opportunity here as well. You have a lot of veterans in this city. It's a pretty good, great veteran-centric city that's focused on the veterans. There's an opportunity to make sure those who are going in the military can gain on that experience from veterans here to make them more successful, as we're doing with college, and now we're doing with some of the internships, so we can make them more successful to be successful when they go to the military, and how they climb the ladder and preparing them. And I know our recruiting stations do a good job. A lot of times we as citizen veterans can come on side and say, hey, we as a city can develop a program to ensure that we prepare them for that as well, because we want to be not only successful in college, some of the apprenticeship programs, they're going to the military, that's a great opportunity there for them as well. We're not pushing that on it, but that's opening up an opportunity where we can start a program to prepare those who are probably will go in the military and choose that field to go into. How do we get them be successful there, be targeted in how they climb the ladder and how they be successful there? So I just throw that out as an opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have the presentation, this pamphlet? She printed it. I was reading no line, trying to read it.
Yeah, we'll make sure you
Have a hard copy, do we have?
Yeah, we'll go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Commissioners, we'll go ahead and give you a hard copy of both the attachment to the staff report, the Workforce Development Program brochure, as well as Charles's presentation from tonight. We'll make sure that you guys get that as well. And I know Erica has some closing words. As somebody who participates in Charles's Legal Scholars Program, that's a great program. I can attest to that because we know that a lot of our youth that go into law school don't necessarily practice law. They turn into political science professors, they turn into lobbyists, they turn into teachers, they turn into directors of legislative affairs, they turn into a lot of different things. So I know for that particular program, we actually have community members who are practicing law, who are teaching law, who are using their degrees in other ways to come and talk to the students and participate. So I can definitely say that that program is very successful, and I've actually picked up interns from that program over the years. So they've been then able to go into law firms and the district attorney's office or wherever and say, I've been able to go through this program and intern at the city and build their resume that way. So Charles, thank you for including some of us in that program.
Thank
Erica?
you.
Before Erica goes, Commissioner Pastorian has one last, Commissioner Pastorian a little chatty tonight. So. But we missing one commissioner, so it's okay.
Water.
She's making up for it.
It's the water, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just had a quick question. As, going through the pamphlet and such, obviously there's a very big and heavy emphasis on our youth, and for all the right reasons, right? We need to ensure that they are capable and have access and opportunity to develop those skills to be, in our workforce. But I'm curious about coming out of a pandemic or that other age group of people who perhaps all of a sudden need to redevelop their workforce ability and get back in. Is there something along those lines that you have thought about or would integrate into this? We have a whole group of older, middle-aged people perhaps that either need to get back to work and don't know where to start or need to just start to redevelop those skills, and partner with some other groups. So I'm just curious if that's been something.
Those working groups that I spoke about with the area colleges and with the county workforce and different nonprofits, we're trying to develop some of those things now, addressing what you just said, especially coming out of a pandemic. How can we help individuals pivot in a different direction? And once we have a little more of a framework, I'll get that information to you or invite you to a meeting.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
So do you have an email list like for people to sign up for them to get involved with these programs or
Yes.
to get information?
For more information,
To participate, yes.
yes, there you go.
Okay, great. Look at that. You was prepared, look. Ah, come on now. Charles, don't start me today. I'm being really good. Don't you notice I'm quiet? I'm a little tired, a little jet lag. Escaped from Boston. So I'm tired, but thank you so much.
Thank
Come
you.
on, Erica.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Thank you, Cassandra. Good to see you. Yes, wonderful. Thank you both. Hello, Erica.
Hello again. Thanks for having me back up. I just wanted to thank Charles and Cassandra, and I also wanted to mention Yvette Martinez, whose name is listed. Unfortunately, she's out this week, but Yvette works alongside with Charles and with Cassandra. She runs our senior center and our inclusive services program. So
She's amazing.
Yvette is lovely, and thank you, Commissioner Wilson, for all your kudos and shout outs. I know that Jordan has had a great experience, and we love having him on our staff, so thank you so much for that. So Yvette is also one of our team members. I just wanted to be sure to mention her, but also I wanted to let you know I'm furiously taking notes while you talk and give feedback, and so as Charles mentioned, we can always do better. There's always opportunities for expansion. One thing I think we're hearing repeatedly that I just wanted to emphasize that we're hearing is that while the city has had an amazing history of reaching out to the special needs community, particularly as it relates to those with autism or developmental disabilities, we may have some real opportunities to expand when it comes to individuals with other types of disabilities, particularly with physical disabilities. So I was at the splash pad one time, and there was a mother there whose child is significantly vision impaired, and she came to me and said, you do a great job with the autism spectrum individuals, but you really leave some of us behind. And I know Julie with the Disability Sports Foundation has raised that issue as well, and I just want to let her know we hear that. And we recognize there's an opportunity for growth there, so that's something we will definitely be focusing on. I just wanted to mention a couple of other things. Commissioner Wilson, when you mentioned the need for volunteers at TVH, at the request of Councilmember Alexander, we have a new page on the city's website which serves to kind of be a clearinghouse for volunteer opportunities, so that we can potentially unite more people who have skills to share with the organizations that need them. So we'll double check and make sure that TVH is listed and make sure we have that information there as well so that that can be shared.
Thank you.
And Chair Baker, I just wanted to thank you for mentioning partnerships, because we do an awful lot with a very small staff. Like, I think it would surprise people to realize how limited our staffing is sometimes.
Yeah.
And so those partnerships with other community organizations are really the only way we're able to offer what we do offer, and the only way we're going to be able to expand into some of these other areas, whether it's mental health or job opportunities for veterans or expanding into more opportunities for individuals with disabilities. We're going to be relying heavily on those partnerships. And I think where we have sometimes maybe become a little bit short-sighted about what we're missing, it's mostly because we've formed really good partnerships with certain organizations, and so we continue to work with the same organizations and they continue to communicate in the same ways. And sometimes we don't know what we don't know. So we appreciate all the feedback, and just want you to know we will be looking out for that. Finally, Commissioner Faulkner, very timely question about the Veterans Services. As you've met with Charles, he's going to be taking some of this on. And next week, we're meeting with an individual in the community who's a retired veteran who has developed a channel, he calls it a stovepipe program, from the Marines for getting individuals through his business to learn certain types of trades, and he wants to start expanding that. So he's formed a nonprofit and is going to be meeting with us next week to work on ways we can partner with other companies in the Temecula area to start creating vocational stovepipe options for individuals leaving the military. So lots of options, but that's a new, exciting one on the horizon. So mostly I just wanted to thank you all, let you know that we listen, we take good notes, and we will continue working to just do more and do better.
Thank you so much.
Thank
You
you.
are doing a great job.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
You're doing a great job.
they're doing a great job. Staff's doing
We
a
are
great job.
all, you are all doing a great job because you care about our kids.
Yeah.
That's why Temecula does care. You know, people can say a lot of things about Temecula, but what they cannot say is that we do not care about our children. So
I agree. I think
thank
that's the
you all
one
for
thing.
your hard work and your presentations.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Okay, and let's receive, okay, we need work, now 3, consider opportunities to host a multicultural event. Randy, tell us all about it.
So actually, this is a very preliminary conversation, so I'll go ahead and give a very brief staff report. We have a couple of public comments. We'll hear those public comments, and then we'll let you guys answer some questions for us.
Okay.
So, as you all know, the City Council in July 2020 adopted the REDI initiative. As a part of the REDI initiative, there is a phase 2, which is outward community facing. On August 23rd, staff met with the REDI Commission liaisons, Mayor Edwards and Mayor Pro Tem Ron, to go ahead and provide a status update on the phased approach as far as phase 1 is coming to completion, and as we're beginning phase 2, what are their preliminary thoughts. And at that meeting, both Mayor Edwards and Mayor Pro Tem Ron had indicated that they would like us to come back to you all and just mull around some ideas about a multicultural event that we could be hosting here in the city of Temecula. As we know, there's many other cities that have something similar. Irvine has been doing their Global Village Festival since 2002. Oxnard has been doing their multicultural festival since 1995. And then my personal favorite, the Orange International Street Fair in the Old Circle in the city of Orange. They've been doing that since 1973. So there is a wide variety of types of events, whether they're single day, whether they're half day, whether they're multi-day, whether they involve food, whether they involve activities, all of that. You can find a lot of variety there. But the main thing is such an event, it's not only goes towards the principles of making sure that our diverse segments of our community are included in this celebration, but it's also an opportunity for additional economic development, tourism, and definitely strengthening those community ties, especially with nonprofits and churches and the like. A lot of these cities that have something similar, their nonprofits are involved, their churches are involved, Rotaries, Kiwanis, they're involved. So while they might have a multicultural theme, it is very specifically community-oriented. So with that, we actually have some questions for consideration for you tonight. And again, this is just very preliminary conversation because we will be taking all suggestions. Like Erica, we will be taking diligent notes and going back to the City Council on all of this for final consideration. The Community Services Department remains here because Community Services Department is our events department as well. So it was a great time to have this conversation with you all while they were here present tonight as well. So with that, we're going to be asking you what kind of an event could be held, when and where could we hold this event, what types of, thank you, Chris, what types of activities could be incorporated, what kind of efforts could be made to ensure inclusion of all segments of our community. And with that, that's the brief presentation. I would, Madam Chair, now ask that we hear from the speakers, and then you could go ahead and have a broad discussion and provide us with recommendations.
Yeah, Erica, may we hear from the public comments?
Yes, our first speaker is Rick Reese, to be followed by Greg Allen. And again, I'll announce when you have 1 minute remaining and then 30 seconds. 3 or 5? It'll be 5 minutes.
I don't think I'll go that long. Hello again. Actually, I think, well, I guess she's not city clerk tonight. I guess a lot of what the executive director just said kind of took maybe some of my thunder away, but again, these are just suggestions. I thought, right now is Oktoberfest. It would be great to have microbreweries out here. Brats, promote some of our microbreweries, business, community all together. But I noticed it just sounds like one event, but why limit yourself to just one event? Maybe you ought to put an S on that. I mean, you look at the calendar, we have so many different things to observe and celebrate. I mean, you got Christmas and Hanukkah coming up. You got the whole month of February for Black History Month. You can have local African American businesses and restaurateurs and promote them. St. Patrick's Day, come on, we're all Irish then, you know. Geez Louise. Cinco de Mayo. I know what's really big down in San Diego, they do a big Asian American Pacific Islander event down there. And my wife was born in the Philippines, and you know, why should we have to drive all the way down to San Diego to do something like that? I mean, it'd be great if we had something like that here, you know. So even stuff, 4th of July, Constitution Day, we're all Americans. We, you know, get together, celebrate our love of liberty and our love for America. And anyway, that's all I'm saying. I would just suggest don't limit it. I think food is great. If you can add in food, we got microbreweries here. I'm not saying to go out and get drunk, but we're always promoting the wineries here. We got a lot of good microbreweries here too. You know, just people can go around and do a little taste sampling and stuff like that, and eat brats and have wine and cheese and everything else. We can kind of, you know, so I would just suggest don't limit yourself, but if you throw in food, I think that's just going to bring more people together. So anyways, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next and final speaker is Greg Allen.
Good evening, everybody, REDI Commission and everybody involved. Thank you very much for listening to me tonight. I'm first time here, so if I'm a little bit appear nervous, it's because I am. I wanted to talk a little bit about my son, who's in the Air Force in Abilene, Texas, and he's in his 3rd year. He's suffering from a chronic Crohn's disease. He looks like he might not make it all the way through to his 4 years, and they might kick him out because they've already spent several $100,000 on him, which is admirable for our military. But I worry about his future and think they should be considered a part. The other one is, in my history, I raised some foster children. I don't see them on your list as at need children. They are definitely at need and at risk, I mean. And they are going through our high schools just unaware, and they need help mentally. And you said they're children, you know. I wonder if everybody here, when you filled out your interview, you decided that you would only represent a certain face, whatever color it was, culture is. I think you all showed up with good intentions. And I'm here to talk about my son who went to the fire department to get in his 2nd year. He saw the writing on the wall, applied for the fire department, was told denied, even after doing it for, he got a 95, but was denied without reason. In LA, they're only hiring females. Until they reach the 7% mark, females are now the chosen, whatever you want to call it. But I represent, like, I've been married 49 years, and I have 14 grandchildren and a bunch of people behind me that I represent, and I'm speaking for them, not me. Forget about me. My older son, he became a firefighter, paramedic, and now he's an inspector. And because of leadership that doesn't want to stand up for the rank and file, he, after almost acquiring his retirement, might have to be fired because of these mandates. But I'm wondering, when does now when he was 16, he came to me, he said, "Dad, I'm volunteering for the fire department." I said, "Yes, I was admirable." Somebody there told me I have to go in the military if I want to be a firefighter. So he started his career at 17. As soon as he was done with high school, went into the military, Coast Guard. This is an E5. He became an E5. That's just pretty well for a stint. And then when he came out, and while he was in there, he applied for the military. They checked everything. They came to neighbors, knocked on the doors. What's this boy like? Well, my boy never drank, never did drugs. He went to parties, but he wouldn't do that. And so they were able to go through his whole history, and he became a firefighter. They couldn't deny him. And now he's an inspector. So he's been through a gambit with the fire department. But his leadership is facing these same mandates, and I think it's appalling. But you talk about barriers. My son has a barrier to become a firefighter where he loses 5 points, and that's a barrier for him. And I'd like you to explore that barrier for my culture. It doesn't matter what culture, it's discrimination, isn't it? Do we have another word for it? If it was happening. But now, I had a small business. The first 4 years, I only hired black people to work in my business. That's how bad my white guilt was. I only hired, of course, it was when the people come out of jail, they give you a break if you hired them. And so I took full advantage of it. I had a couple of brothers working for me.
1 minute.
I'd give Crystal and Jackie a bid for my services. We'd come into your home for 6 weeks, and I'd have 3 black guys with me and myself. And after 4 years, one of them came to me and said, I make more money on a Saturday night than I do working for you all week. And I was desperate back then. I gave up my value, and I said to him, I don't need you Saturday night. I just need you during the week. When I really should have been saying to him, why are you doing that? You know? I should have been more of a father figure to him and give him good advice. But anyway, I'm talking about the barriers. I want to also talk about women who are pregnant in high school. They drop out. They fall behind the lines. They could do with this program here. I only say that because 49 years ago, my wife and I suffered through that system. And I appreciate your patience with me. And thank you all for the good intentions you do have. Please help us out here too, because discrimination is discrimination is discrimination. Okay? Thank you,
sir. Does that conclude your public comments?
That was the last public comment.
Okay, thank you so much, Erica.
So, Madam Chair, at this point, we'll go ahead and ask Chris to go ahead and put up the slide again, and we'll ask you to go ahead and facilitate a discussion on what a multicultural event and/or multicultural events could look like.
Well, I am the ultimate party planner, so this gives me excitement. So it just should, first of all, include the demographic of our community. I know we're waiting on data to come back, but we basically just should start with whatever we do to make sure we include the demographics of Temecula residents and build out from there. This way everyone is represented or felt seen or heard or have an opportunity to express themselves. I also think this is just for me, as we're having celebration, and maybe this is a little bit down in the weeds. I know me, I love people, so I like to learn about their culture. I want to learn about who they are, what they represent. As you spoke about food, what's the cuisine, what's their favorite cuisine of their culture, things like that. So having a nuance to where whatever culture we celebrate or bring together, that we have something that represents their culture. So for example, I like lumpia. And I'm a foodie, but I like learning about people because I like their cuisine, because I think you tell a lot about a person based on their food. And it gives opportunity to share family history. Maybe we have a contest, like the best chili contest or whatever for your region, something that includes bringing the community together also to learn, participate, and vote. I can go on forever. I will not. I would like to be on any committee you have for that personally because it just excites me. So who wants to share right now?
I'll share.
Okay.
I'll start, give you guys some time. So, well, first of all, May 21st, 2022 is actually World Day for cultural diversity observation, and I thought maybe that's probably a target date that we may want to think about across the world. I love the idea of food samples, to have different exhibits, different booths for food, for beer, definitely wine. I was thinking about educational booth, get the schools involved and have different projects, and the kids could showcase their educational, whether it be a bulletin board that talks about different culture, the history, the type of clothing they wear, the food they like. We just want to make this a fun event, but also make it an educational event. Different cultural games is something that I put down. A short presentation, we can send this out to the massive, use our social media, our newsletter, every type of way of communication we have for the city to get this out, to let everybody know that they are included and we want them to be a part. Whether you're the Pacific Islander, if you're from Ireland, wherever you're from, we want you included, because it wouldn't be complete without having a great representation of our city.
Right.
I look at different exhibits. We have some, I'm sure some artists here have their art displayed also. Then also have a contest, different type of contest, of course dancing contest, but you can't have a cultural fest without having the Polynesian dancers, the hip hop dancers, African dancer, the Mexican dancers, and the quinceañera, all of that different stuff. Craft tables for the kids. We want to include the kids, so a section where the kids can do different crafts and have someone over there. And then also keep in mind that it has to be accessible for people that are in wheelchairs, people with learning disabilities. We want to reach out to our LGBTQ plus. Keep everybody in mind. This is our culture that we are celebrating, and we don't want one person to feel that they were not represented or they were not included. So I think by starting now would be a great time to get the word out, to keep inviting people and let them know this is something that we're doing. And then I just wrote a note. We wanted to make sure we can include Blacks, white, Hispanics, Asian, Native American, Latinos, just everybody. So if you guys have any suggestions on the list that we've left out, please include it, because I want everybody to feel I am a part of Temecula and this is part of me. So that was my 2 cents. Hopefully I didn't take too long.
You didn't take too long. I just didn't do a good job. So I'm going to start over. What kind of events could be held? I think we could hold like a festival. So what kind of events? Let's just that question. What kind of event do we think? Festival, or what else? I said a festival. Anyone else? What kind of event?
Well, I did a little bit of research, and San Diego has numerous, probably 20 events during the year, based on different cultures and different things that happen. And I think while it's a great idea to break it out per culture, then somebody's always going to get left out. So that's a huge problem. Plus, it gives our community service department 12 different events, so that's kind of crazy. But going back to the Orange International Street Fair, they've really turned it into a community event, and the nonprofits have their own booths, and each nonprofit represents a different country. So it's a great opportunity for not only to have the food of the country, but have beer or wine or whatever that is, if it's appropriate, and then also have an educational piece about those countries. There's so many misconceptions over different countries, and basic information. I mean, I get in conversations about Ireland all the time, and it's so misconstrued that, oh, that's a thing? Yeah, so.
Can I interrupt you one?
Yes.
Can we put a pin in that? Not to learn about the cultures, but the misconceptions about the cultures. Like, Black people don't like you to touch their hair. No, I'm serious. We really do need to learn cultural competence and cultural sensitivity.
I think that's really important.
That's very important for us to live together well together by respecting and understanding each other's limits as well.
I think especially when we're dealing with, we have a very diverse community. We have, it's a melting pot. I know when I came over from Ireland, I was raised Catholic, and when I saw Hanukkah cards, I was like, what the hell is Chinook? Like, I didn't even know how to read it. I set up and watched infomercials on treatment for Black people's hair because I didn't know it was a thing. So I think educating our community, each other, on different cultures, I think is really, really important. So I think that's a really, really good thing. But you know, we can include art is amazing because there's so many interpretations of internationally how we can do art, and then a children's street, which would be wonderful, and then you know just really try to educate. The dance I love, whether it's you know African American dance, whether it's clogging, whether it's country line dancing, whether it's Irish dancing. There's so many different dances that people aren't even aware they're dances. And I've seen the Asian Pacific Islanders put on some performances here when we used to do Taste of Temecula, which we really miss that.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
Okay, so Jack, you get me in trouble. You didn't
Okay,
answer
good.
the first question. What kind of event?
I think it should be a singular event that's an
Singular
international
event?
event. Yes.
So maybe like a weekend, or?
Yes, I think it
'Cause
should be on May 21st, 2022.
It shouldn't be one day, because it's just too many of us to fill in one day. But
I
like
like
a
Denise's idea.
weekend. You know, like you
think
go
a
to
good
a summer series, so the weekend of this, we'll be celebrating, you'll have this feature. So what kind of event, do you have a suggestion for an event? I'm just
A
gonna run off these questions.
World Day event.
A World Day event,
I agree. I think that weekend, a weekend
a
event.
weekend event.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have anything for the event, just the event, so I can get them their questions answered?
I love it. I like a festival, food, wine, education, dancing,
Festival.
of course, dancing.
A weekend festival in Temecula, you always
Stage.
draw a lot of commerce here too. You know, my mind thinks all how we can benefit, just not one area. No, not just one area where that gentleman went.
Yes, over a weekend.
Commissioner
would be
Faulkner?
amazing.
I'd say the same thing. An event should be like a festive event where all cultures are recognized and have a stage at that event as well for them to get up and actually educate. So the type of event, festival.
And so we have here, we kind of want to have a weekend celebration.
Yeah, I want to turn up.
We want to, yes, and just have people to come out and enjoy the community, like, so on a weekend. Now, where, when, and where? So we had a suggestion of
May 21st, 2022, which is World Culture Day.
Any other suggestions
Yes,
of a
it's a
time
Saturday.
of year or a location? I love the being in is it the Ronald Reagan Park for the fireworks? That's the only thing that I've like really been to that can house a lot of people and to accommodate what you're trying to accomplish, because it has so many nooks and crannies. So you have stations here, you have stations there. I think that's your best part, but unless you want to do a parade down Old Town.
I think Old Town.
Either there or Birdsong Park is large enough to do something like that as well.
Well, but you know what? I was thinking if we did it where we used to do Taste of Temecula, because that also ties in the people, the owners of the shops that are in Old Town. So they can do some type of theme, they can get involved also, and then we can have like a road map to different stores on Front Street, and people can go in there and they can have exhibits and all that. So we're also helping them with, patronizing them also.
I think we could also utilize, I'm not familiar with the Taste of Temecula, but we could definitely utilize that farmer's market space onto like Front Street. And we've definitely had a lot of really cool festivals along the street in front of City Hall, correct?
Yeah, that's where it
that's where it usually is?
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we have a lot of space here that could really be used in order to have different spaces for different things, because I was thinking of a space that would be towards, particularly individuals who are like hearing sensitive, or like autistic children, a lot of music, loudness. There might be like an area that just might be more comforting, just something that provides a lot of space. Also, is a spotlight for all of the really amazing businesses in Old Town.
Yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
Yeah, you can turn Front Street into a thoroughfare and just go, if that's what you want to do. I still recommend the park just because of the spread out aspect of it and the accommodation, but I think that the city can probably figure it.
Yeah, I agree with the parks because if we're talking about food and them bringing food in, now we're
Vendors.
competing against the
vendors.
businesses that are there that are patronizing and trying to make money as well. So I believe if food is going to be involved with it, we move it to a different location and away from, that's just my recommendation.
I do like the idea of the Taste of Temecula. While I love the idea of a park just as well for the feel that it gives, my concern is sometimes accessibility on grass and different things like that. Doesn't always work well with, walkers and wheelchairs and leg braces and all of those different types of things sometimes. So that is something that this area here out in front of City Hall is more conducive to. I'd actually like to see kind of, and we do it all the time, is our art on the street and our chalk painting. I would love to see some type of thing where there was a multicultural element, like an art, like a contest or something that people could put their image of. Maybe open that up early for young artists who want to come and do their display of something that represents culture, the multicultural aspect of things, and then we can tour that and look at it. I think that would be awesome. But that's something that, again, this particular area is more conducive to than perhaps a park. But I do like the feel that a park gives. It's that more intimate, warm sort of family feel. But I think we can make that happen here. And certainly, like I said, it's more conducive to accessibility.
We will go ahead and forward both suggestions. We're just here to talk high level about opportunities, and then it will be the job of our fantastic community services department to refine and then present to council.
And I would like, in the win, I know May was thrown out, but as we look at that, it needs to be in a month that we don't have a celebration or something going on, a holiday. So if we can look at that to where that, doesn't compete against what's already being done in the month for other things, so.
Okay, so we talked about we pretty much answered your question about what type of activities can be incorporated. Did we miss any activity that we did not share already?
Yeah, the only thing about activities I would say is, again, a stage where the different groups can go up and provide education to the audience. I know we have a stage for 4th of July where we'll have bands up or like that, where these groups can go up if there's going to be dance and actually be displayed on the stage so everybody can see and not at their individual location. So, and also provide education on that stage in regards to their cultures and some of the history and everything like that as well.
Sort of like a grandstand, that's where the main performance will be done.
I have just a slight idea and suggestion. I think that it would be a really brilliant place to create access to resources for individuals living in the city, for the community services department, whether it be one tent or several tents, all those programs that you just talked about. It would be really amazing to just splash them throughout. And I think that there should be an element of the event that is really supportive of minority-owned businesses and brands. And I just wanted to add that in there.
Okay. Jackie, Commissioner Steve, did you share? I know you had a list, and I was trying to keep you to my questions here. So please go on if you missed anything you would like to share.
No, I think I'm good. I think I got it out.
Okay.
Thank you.
All hearts clear? Okay, well, thank you for that very high-level conversation, according to Randy.
Thank you. Do you have any other suggestions on that last question as far as anything specific? You obviously will do our social media, we'll reach out to the chamber, the school district, Visit Temecula Valley, all of our nonprofits, we'll do all of that.
And your website.
Our website. Is there anything else that you can think of that we should specifically do to make sure that people are included in this event?
Are you reaching out to other cities, like the surrounding cities, or are you predominantly focusing on marketing in this area?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We can definitely make a note of that and see if we want to. Most of the time when we do a press release, so the press release literally goes to all the regional cities and different radio stations, television stations, press outlets. So that's how it gets picked up through Patch or whatever else it may be. So word is going to get out of such an event, just like it does for a Rod Run. Very similar type of activity.
I would imagine you're, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just asking, what types of social media do you have?
We do everything from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I don't know if we do.
MySpace.
I'm pretty sure we don't do MySpace.
Commissioner Faulkner, you really going back, Commissioner Faulkner.
I think those are the main ones that we use is Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Do you review the analytics of like engagement?
We do. We absolutely do. Our economic development department actually, and in our city manager's office, our PIO function and economic development look at analytics all the time as far as how many people are actually opening our posts and clicking on links and all of that kind of good stuff.
And so what about banners? Like for the event, you know how when you go down, I forget which street at this point, don't quote me, and you see all of those wine country or whatever the banners are all over the city. I would like to see some multicultural banners, just period, not necessarily for a festival, but in general, you know. See a little kente cloth up there. See a little luck of the Irish up there, you know. Peachy.
I was just gonna add really briefly that it would be really interesting to see if we could expand into like the TikTok realm.
Oh, okay.
Because that is a way and a very, very popular social media for young adults. And I've seen some amazing things happen with TikTok and the way that it generates views. I think that would be an amazing way to engage with the youth.
Yeah,
here.
great idea, Commissioner Harris. And I know Commissioner Wilson had actually mentioned a short presentation or video to advertise the event, so that would be a great platform to go ahead and show that video on as well.
Hey, Randy, you guys gave a presentation a while back that broke down the demographics in our city a lot better than the census data breaks down. So if we could really focus in on that to make sure, you know, we have that demographic of people who are from all different areas of the continent to ensure that all those different cultures are added in.
Yeah, subcultures.
Yeah.
No, we will definitely make sure, and our timing is actually perfect to have this conversation because we are literally doing redistricting with the new data now.
Yeah.
So in addition to whatever information we find out about through the new census, we can get subculture information as well.
Good.
I assume we're also using marketing out to the school district and posting there as well, so that getting that information out through them.
Yes, we use Peach Jar on a regular basis.
My favorite. So with that, there are some groups, perhaps certainly in the high schools, that offer some that would fit right into this multicultural. And I'm thinking like Great Oaks has a great Haka dancing group, or Ohana dancing group. That just different things like that. I think would be great to reach out to as well to participate in this type of an event.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you all. I think that concludes our conversation and suggestions, and we want to thank you for your feedback. Randy, is that it? Is that good for you?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay.
I think that gives both myself as well as our Community Development Department some good feedback. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll go to the commission report now. And I'll start with you, Commissioner Wilson.
Oh, my God, it's been so much going on.
I know.
It's like everything is going on, and it's like, what do I want to focus on first? I just want to add that I'm just touched by our city and how inclusive we are, and I think each day we're becoming more diversified. And I think by the REDI Commission being established, it's making sure that every avenue in our city is being looked at a second time. And you don't get a lot of cities that are stepping up to do that. So I applaud our city and our city council for taking the ranks to be able to do that and to be in the forefront of making a change for our city for the better and for the good. And I'm just proud to be a citizen of Temecula. That's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Steve?
Okay, so as you know, I managed to sneak home between COVID restrictions and spend some time with my family, so that was really nice, and I missed the last meeting, but I watched it. So since I've come back, definitely some of my business associates, friends, nonprofits have reached out to me, and I've had some very impactful conversations. And that's why we love to do that as a commission. I think we love to have these conversations with people and continue to educate people on what our role is here. I want to go back a little bit to when Mike Nagar worked with the special needs community, and it was probably about 14 years ago. I was on the board for a Nicholas Foundation, and when he did that, it opened up a whole other world for our special needs community. And it was this amazing thing where all of a sudden our special needs community was becoming included in what their needs were and in programs and policies for the city. I remember when the city lit up blue for the first time, and we were in tears. That was a huge moment for our artistic community. It's a huge moment for our special needs community, and we became more aware of what those needs are. Having said that, they were unrepresented or underrepresented at the time, and the reason we are here is because there's a special needs community, there's a VA community, there's our diverse community of different cultures. There's so many different brackets of people, and we could go on all night and name those, whether it's our foster youth and so on and so forth. The purpose of the REDI Commission is to represent the unrepresented, and for us as community members to make sure we're covering all of our bases. And all of those bases, we're not experts, we're community members like everybody else here giving their comments. And I appreciate your comments so much because it makes us think every single day. What are we missing? What are we not getting? And make sure that we're all on the same page. So I think that's really, really important. Right when Mike Nagar was going to retire, he was very impactful in making sure that this REDI Commission happened. And he really left the legacy of working with not only the special needs community, and we want to continue that legacy for him, but he also left the legacy of working with all of our community and all of the underrepresented people. We want to continue doing that for him and for our city council members. We come here, we look at our agenda, that is what we address. We don't have an agenda. We don't make our agenda. We do exactly what we're told. We advise the city on policy and programs. We don't make policy or programs. So we appreciate the opportunity to be here and represent our community. We all come from different journeys in life, and we all have different people that we talk to every day. So I encourage you, I understand that you don't have access to us because our emails are not printed. I'm really easy to find. So if anybody ever wants to have a conversation with me, all day long, I will meet with you, I will talk with you, and I feel that those conversations have been so educational on both sides. And again, I've met with several people, and they're like, oh, I didn't understand that. Unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation, and as soon as we all get on the same page, we will be able to do amazing things. So I thank you.
Good, thank you, Commissioner Steve. Commissioner Pastorian.
Thank you, Commissioner Baker, Chair Baker. I want to kind of echo, I guess, what my colleagues here have said. Certainly, you can probably hunt and peck your keyboard and find any one of us at any given time to reach out to have a discussion about any of these things. It is incredibly heartfelt what we have seen from our community that has come out. The one thing that I had said at our last meeting, and I will continue to say it, and Commissioner Steve just hit on that, which is, we are an advisory committee, and that's really what we do. We just simply, provide information and advise. There's no policy or program. We don't make that. We don't, have any real regulation over that. We just simply advise. But we can't do that without all of you in the audience and in the community. And I've said it before, you and your feedback, and I'm so happy to see familiar faces, returning faces here tonight, because that continues to provide us. You are our reach. So the more that you come to that podium right there, and the more you speak about those things that weigh heavily on your heart or the things that you're seeing in your circle, and the more awareness that you bring to us, you help us continue to advise our city council. And that is so important. You are our partners, and we are their partners, and together, this is how it works. So just please keep coming. If you have friends, you have neighbors, you have other people within your circles who have thoughts or comments or need to come, encourage them to take that step and stand there. and talk to us and continue to extend our reach to the community and let those things be heard. It's so important for us to do our job, but also we don't know what we don't know. So you got to be able to tell us, and that podium is the door to do that. So again, I thank everybody for being here tonight, providing the information. Reach out, get more people here. We want to hear that stuff. And sometimes, and we've said it before, we don't always like what we hear. That's okay. We need to know those things. That's how we can continue to have a positive dialogue and progress forward for our community. Because I think we are all very much on the same page when it comes to wanting to do good by our community. So with that, I'll end. See?
Thank you, Commissioner Pastorian.
I'm not as long-winded as you thought tonight.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Oh, well, I just want to start with, I had a great conversation with one of our citizens here in the city and surrounding city in regards to what REDI is about. And this was a person that didn't agree with me, didn't agree with the approach of REDI. But we had a great dialogue. We sat down and had lunch. I let him speak on his position. I spoke to my position. We conversated about our personal lives, found out we had things in common. And at the end of that conversation, guess what? We walked away and we looked at each other and say, Eric, that's okay. We're going to just disagree to disagree, and that's fine. But the level and the respect and the love in that conversation was great. I mean, we got an opportunity to just see media just outside this forum to really hear this person out and not in the loudness when we have our council meetings and people trying to overtalk the other one and being loud and not professional and not respectful to our speakers that come in here. So that's what I'm looking for. And and I told Randy, I'm made for this. I've seen worse than what we've seen in our meetings, in our discourse here. So I'm willing to meet anyone where they are. I'm willing to have a conversation because I want to learn, and all these commissioners want to learn about how we can continue to work lockstep with the leadership of this city to make it the best city. So that's what this is all about. I don't mind, the bio thing, so you can see who we are. That's great. I mean, I think it's a great idea, but that's up to the city council to talk about that so you can see where we're coming from. But you'll find when you read that bio, you see 7 professionals who have a lot of experience in our communities, in their lives, and raising their families, and are here for one thing and one thing only, and that's to make this the greatest city in the United States of America. So I just want to say that. The other thing I want to bring up is, and it's just been on my heart and on my mind in regards to the last event that happened at Temecula Valley High School. That was an event that didn't show that we were an inclusive city. That was an event that showed that we didn't create a safe space for people outside our city that came in here to, play a football team and compete. Cheerleaders going to the other side of the field to cheer like normal cheerleaders do. They go to opposite sides of the field to play football, and they cheer in front of the opposing team's audience. We didn't put our best foot forward, and it's not anybody. Nobody's pointing at anybody in here. Those were individuals that did this. We don't group a whole group of people because of what some individuals did. We need to hold them accountable. The investigation needs to happen, and people need to be held accountable based on it. But man, just think about someone looking to come here on the outside, looking at that bad press, and what that does to someone who looks like those young ladies and those young men, if there were men there, about coming to this city. We've got to stop that. And the adults in the room or the adults in the space, it doesn't matter who it is. If I'm there and I hear that, unfortunately, I'm going to act on it. I'm going to step up no matter who they're trying to intimidate, who they're trying to bully, what they look like, color, where they're coming from. I'm going to stand up for them. And that's what adults should do. I mean, kids are going to act out, they're going to do crazy things, and we need to pull them back in. I mean, and adults should step up in those situations to show, no matter who that person is that's standing in front of them, color, creed, demographic, or whatever, that we're going to stand up as Temecula citizens and say, not in our city. We won't stand for it. So I just want to say that that's been on my heart, that we didn't provide a space for that group that we say we are about as a city, that we in what we are and what we portray. So, and one opportunity for that to happen is too many opportunities, particularly when we're dealing with the stuff like that. So I just want to end with that. I just want to get that off my heart, get that off my mind. Again, I care about you whether you agree with me or not. I'm willing to have a conversation with you, no matter the political side you're on, because that's what this becomes about. But again, the 7 of us are here to move the city forward and work with our city councilmen to do that. So just want to say that and end on that. So thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Commissioner. Ready, Commissioner Harris?
Yes, I am. Thank you all for being here. I just wanted to first start off by saying I feel like I had an amazing August being around Temecula. And there were so many opportunities to engage with small businesses around Temecula. A couple weeks ago, I was at Vail HQ, and there was a nighttime, farmers market, small business market, and it was so absolutely amazing to see the diverse amount of business owners there, and just to see the community coming out, and especially after being stuck inside during COVID, it feels amazing to be out and amongst the community and seeing the great things that are being done there. I also got the opportunity to go to where you will probably always find me at. I haven't gone since really COVID started, but I got a chance to go back, is the farmers market. I've been going there since I was, 14 years old, and I got a chance to go back the first time, kind of after the pandemic, and it was so amazing to see the resiliency of the business owners there, the diversity. The food is absolutely amazing. There's different cultures there selling their food, and it was really nice. I would be lying if I didn't tell you that I was kind of sad. There's definitely not the same amount of businesses that were there before, but I know as a city we're gonna come back bigger and stronger and better than ever, and I can't wait for it because I will be there buying absolutely everything because I can't control myself. So I also wanted to talk about something that's really been weighing heavy on my heart. And it's just, I love the city, and you understand when you really love something, that is when you're hurt the most at when you see something going wrong, when something bad happens. It affects you emotionally, and you feel very impassioned about it. And that's exactly how I feel now about what happened at TVHS at that football game. What happened was reprehensible. It was an unfortunate incident, but it was not surprising to me. And it isn't, and that isn't okay, because these events happen, whether or not they're reported or not. We have to understand and engage in which the culture that we're creating. And when these events happen, yes, it was definitely individuals, and most of this time, this city is absolutely wonderful. Some of the best people that I have met and lived around, no matter what race you are, the most welcoming. But it's when these incidents happen, how do we react? How do we respond? How do our leaders respond? How do we hold those accountable? It makes a difference. It is those in leadership's responsibility whenever they hear about an incident going on to immediately, wholeheartedly denounce that behavior. Denounce it. It's unacceptable. It does not represent this city. And also, there will absolutely be consequences. It's not tolerated. That's what everyone should be hearing consistently and constantly. This isn't compatible. But we also now have a responsibility to engage and address and see how we can move forward and we can do different. I'm exhausted of this story. I don't want to hear it anymore. The pain that one has to experience when they hear that Black women had to encounter being monkey noises? Really? Monkey noises? I can't verbalize the pain that they experienced. We have to make sure that that does not represent us. And you know what? That engages in having open conversations about it. Open conversations about behavior. Open conversations about people's lived experiences. Open conversations about what it's like that these situations happen. No one is screaming from the rooftop, hey, this happened to me. I experienced this racial event. That's why a lot of people come up here and they're like, none of my friends told me about something racist that happened to them. I've never experienced it, because it's not something that you want to talk about. You don't want to talk about your trauma, but we can create a safe space for that to happen. We can. And when I've sat with individuals who were in this chamber and I was able to explain, this is what happened to me, this is where we could move forward, we can meet there. And in respecting my experience, we could disagree about a lot of other things, and that's fine. I love that. I'm used to that. That's democracy. And I think that is what's brilliant about this city, is that I grew up and I heard a very diverse amount of opinions. And I thought it was great. Those are all my friends. But it wasn't denouncing someone's lived experiences. We just have to begin to cultivate an environment in which we can have conversations about people's lived experiences, where there's trust involved. I know that there was a breakfast with a cop. Brilliant idea. It's a brilliant idea. Community policing is brilliant. I mean, the time in which it happened, I think it was Wednesday at 9 a.m. I couldn't attend because it's a work day at 9 a.m.
Not really
and
conducive for working class people.
It's not conducive to working class people. I agree. So we need to work on that. And it's not about individual cops. It's about, the entire, culture that we have in engaging and addressing issues. But it's a good start. We have to come together. We're neighbors. And also, outside of the emotional impact of that, if you look at the statistics of the age of individuals who live in Temecula, a predominant amount of individuals who live here are older than 35. We put these programs out there for our youth, and we create some of the smartest individuals with the most resources to be some of the best top tier, writing for the New York Times, working at the best tech companies, and they are leaving. And I have an ear to it. A lot of individuals are tired once they hit 18. They don't feel comfortable. They don't feel represented. That's people fleeing. Those are brilliant brains that we're spending so much time to cultivate. That could be coming back here. That could be building here. It's about creating an environment that fosters relationships. Trust me, it would be helpful and impactful. So I just hope that in the future, we can move absolutely forward. We have to. We can't look at these experiences and ignore them, put blinders on. That's at least not what I'm here for. I'm here for the tough conversations. I'm here to talk about it. I'm so amazed by the amount of people that I've been able to heal with during this month after hearing that. It's triggering. It's hard. So I look forward to seeing how we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be short. I'm kind of sad too. Just hearing this, I had forgot about that. I didn't forget about it. It just wasn't at the forefront of my mind. But what I would like to say about that, I would like to offer a solution, possibly, to offer healing circles, opportunities for communities to come together and heal. Because what concerns me about the Temecula Valley event is the other side of the kids that didn't quote unquote participate. My kid is perfect, and they haven't participated in any of this bad behavior. Well, if your kid is that perfect, maybe they should be helping to influence the kids that are participating in the bad behavior. Because it's not enough for them not to participate. We have to stand up against bullying and hate, and we have to teach our kids to do the same thing. Because I'm telling you, middle school is where kids learn what treachery is. And I'm not speaking from anything except my professional experience in this field. And we have to teach our kids to have compassion. We have to teach our kids to have courage to stand up. It's not enough for them not to participate in the bad behavior, but are they standing up against it? And that was the thing that was sad for me to hear. I was in a meeting with a lady, and she didn't know who I was, and she represents Temecula, apparently. You know, I don't go out and speak to a lot of people on behalf of the city. I sit here to do that until the city gives me instruction on what to do next. You know, that's kind of how I take this position. So I'm not in the community saying, you know, tell me this and tell me that. If I meet people, but my phone, because of my impact and work with youth, could not stop going off. I was out of town, and it was just sad. So I would ask, can we offer healing circles when bad things happen in our city, instead of everyone looking to defend themselves so quickly? How could we come together and say, how can we repair and bring healing and be repairers of the breach, especially since this is a Christian community? What is the Christian thing to do when someone has been wounded or hurt or offended in your community? What does the scripture tell us to do? Can we do more of that? Because it was just sad. And a lot of people have reached out to me because I'm the REDI chair. And just to hear the pain, and no one is acknowledging the pain. Everyone is taking sides. Well, you know, I heard one lady say, well, those kids weren't innocent. So we're justifying being cruel to other people's kids because they said something back. Well, I would say something back too. What are you supposed to do? Take abuse and just be quiet? So I just think that there needs to be a level of sensitivity and care. So I've had this conversation with my children. We've watched it. We've heard about it. We've talked about it. And I asked them, well, what would you have done? And have you experienced anything like that? And boy, did I get some stories that I was sad to hear, but it starts at home. And it just makes me sad to hear that someone was hurt in our city. Someone was hurt in our city. How about that? Someone didn't feel welcome. Someone felt demoralized in our city. What can we do about that as a city? So I think that cuts down the blame, and it helps us to focus on healing. I just recently just came back from Boston speaking at a national conference for poverty. And I did several presentations there, but Heather McGee, the author, I have not read the book. So if you've read the book, don't say that I'm just telling you who she was. She's the author of The Sum of Us, What Racism Costs Everyone and How We Can Prosper Together. That title just makes me happy because it does cost us all something to be involved in racism as a community. But she made a point doing that, and I would like to share. She said our policies reflect our hearts towards the individuals that the policies are reflected at. And what she was saying by that is, if I'm going to create a policy that thinks less than you, then my policy is going to reflect that I don't care that much about you. And so I'm really looking to do some policy changes. And how do we put some things in place? How do we have a compassion? You know, we're a Temecula that cares. So now we've had this incident. How do we put some policies to enact the care unit? Where's the care unit? Like, where do we go give a basket? Where do we go give a hug? Where do we come in and just say, our policies, our belief, what we do here in Temecula shows that we care about everyone, and this was not what we represent, and we're sorry for your experience. And I'm not just talking about the girls that were the cheerleaders. I'm talking about people's lived experiences that have come up here and shared. Can we just have a place? Because what's going to happen if we don't? Then people are going to start fighting themselves. If we don't have an opportunity for people to heal, people are going to take that pain and that frustration out, and then we'll be facing another issue in the city. So I would definitely even look forward to holding some of those as a REDI commissioner. Anything to do to bring us together and to bring healing, and for us to look at our policies, the way we look at things in our businesses, the way we look at things in the city, our organizations. How do they reflect the people in which we serve? Does it show that we care about them, that we understand them, that we're culturally sensitive toward them and aware? Or is it policies and procedures and laws or culture that is exclusive? It just makes me want to think and be more inclusive as a person. And last but not least, I want to thank the city of Temecula, in particular its city council members. You all are enduring a lot of hardness for this REDI commission, but I see your efforts paying off. More people are coming around. I agree with my colleagues. Thank you so much for coming. More people are coming and sharing with us how we can help, versus attacking us and accusing us of what we're not doing. Thank you for that. Thank you for hearing us. Thank you for seeing us. Thank you for being kind and courteous to us. And thank you for getting to know us. And thank you, City Council, for trusting us and believing in us. We want to serve all of you and make sure that we are representing this city well. So thank you for that. And that concludes my report. And I'll turn it over to you, Executive Director.
Thank
Joe.
you, Madam Chair. I just have 3 quick items for you all. The city is currently recruiting for boards and commission members. We have openings on all 5 of our boards and commission members. The recruitment period runs from September 1st through October 31st. So it's a 60-day recruitment period based on City Council policy. We have sent out our press releases to people near and wide, and they can go ahead and go through the online process and go ahead and apply. We've only been open for a few days now, which included the Labor Day weekend, and I think we already have like 13, 14 applications.
Wow.
So we're definitely excited since we've modified this process over the last 2 years. The City Council had the wisdom in 2019 to create a new, more inclusive process, and we are definitely seeing the fruit of that effort. The other thing is we are in the process of creating group emails for public comments. So instead of having to send public comments to me particularly for City Council, or Erica for REDI Commission, or Stuart Fisk for Old Town Local Review Board, we are actually creating council comments for public comments, REDI Commission at TemeculaCA.gov, Old Town Local Review Board at TemeculaCA.gov, Planning Commission at TemeculaCA.gov. We're actually testing our first one Tuesday night with the City Council meeting. So assuming it all goes well, we'll be rolling out for all of the boards and commissions in probably their October meetings. We're working with IT closely on that. We are also, that's kind of our phase 1 outreach. Phase 2 outreach is individual emails for board and commission members. So we'll be working with the city attorney's office on training, IT on training, and making sure that our board and commission members are trained up on the technicalities and the laws associated with having individual emails and the retention for server Public Records Act purposes, all that kind of good stuff. And then those will be coming. And then as a part of phase 2, we will also be seeking bios. As a reminder, when board and commission members apply, their entire application packet is public record. So your guys' resumes and stuff are already out there in the public sphere because they're a part of the agenda packet. when council members appoint board and commission members. But we'll be looking, sometimes bios change, resumes change, things like that. So we'll be actually reaching out to all of you for current bios, all 27 members. We have a few vacancies right now, but it'll just become a part of the orientation process as new folks come on. And then lastly, you will recall at the beginning of this year, we undertook an effort to celebrate 6 specific proclamations that are also celebrated at the national and state level. So whether that was Black History Month, whether that was Pride Month, so this is kind of our inaugural year. While we've been celebrating these events through our cultural services or our arts or whatever, we have not been formally issuing the proclamation. And so Tuesday night, we will be issuing our very first inaugural Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month. So as you guys may know, it is actually celebrated September 15th through October 15th. And it's Hispanic Heritage Week has actually been around since 1968 when President Lyndon Johnson first introduced it. So, so we'll be doing that, and our recipients of the proclamation, to further solidify our relationship with the school district, will actually be the Latinos Unidos Student Club Group from Chaparral High School, and then the Latinas of Great Oak from Great Oak High School. So they will be joining us on Tuesday night. So, Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you so much, Randy. I do have a question about the emails. They're going to still go to you. Like, we're not going to start managing, like, emails from the city and have to respond. Because I'm horrible with my own emails.
Yeah. That's why that is in phase 2.
Okay.
There is a whole process that will come along
and
with
legalities.
it. Yeah, exactly. So that which was low-hanging fruit, which was the group email.
That's good.
Just like we have a group email for city council members right now as well, that also goes to staff, so we can make sure there's an acknowledgement of receipt and stuff like that.
Okay.
So you guys will be getting group emails first, and then as part of phase 1, and then we will look into phase 2.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
All right, well, thank you for that report. And again, thank you, Temecula. Thank you, City Council, for your trust in the REDI Committee. Thank you, REDI Commissioners, for your service. Thank you, community, for your participation. God bless you all, and that this meeting is adjourned.